Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. I'm back with another recap of Tyler Perry's Zatima season 4, episode 7, Stronger Together. Let's get into it. So it starts off with Fatima getting dressed and Zach putting on her shoes, and he was like, I thought you said you wasn't wearing heels no more. She was like, I know, but it goes with my dress. So he's like, she was like, I got it, like to get up off the bed, and he was like, no, I got it. She was like, listen, you dropped me the last time. So he jokingly tried to like pull up, and then he helps pick up. Says she says slowly, so they do that. But he was just like, I got you. And then basically Fatima, she flipped him. She was like, listen, I'm gonna need you to chill a little bit. Like she's not on her deathbed. She's still able and capable of doing stuff. I don't know why men think that some men think that women are inevitable of doing stuff. Like they've been doing it for centuries. Like okay, like make it make sense. So she was like, listen, I'm gonna need for you to stop, chill, give me some space. Like you kind of like smothering me and being overprotective. But he was like, but he was like, so if you need anything, just ask. She was like, thanks, but I literally just asked you. Okay, so like, you know what? I got all this stuff to do anyway. So yeah, so this is getting a lot. And she was like, what's getting a lot? Yeah, she went ahead to work. She got to the parking garage and she was like a little bit suspicious or whatever. So as she's getting out her car, a hand taps on her shoulder. It happened to be she was shook, almost shook out her shoes. It was Angela. She was just like, "What's going on?" She was like, "Nothing, nothing." She was like, "I know something's wrong." So then Angela was like, she finally put two together. She was like, I know this is weird, but is this about that rude chick that was in your office, that Leslie chick? She was like, yeah. This also makes sense about she broke into your house a couple of weeks ago talking about you gave her your key and that she was your friend. She was like, what? Wait, when? That means that Joey Angela been keeping that stuff to herself and not telling Fatima like stuff like that. You need to tell her about because that's her life in danger. So now she was just like, what? Why you didn't tell me? She was like, listen, when that happened around the repass situation, she was like, and she was like, you had a lot going on. Trust me, she did. She did have a lot going on. It was just too much traumatic stress. So that would have sent her on bed rest for real. But she had known in that moment, oh Lord. So she basically pulled out her gums. Like, I got something for her. They still checked their surroundings, and then they slowly walked about the car, walked to the out the parking garage. The team was like, "Can we talk about something else? Because I do not got time for this. Like to be stressing me out, stuff like that." So they started walking. Let's talk about other things. Talk about how that girl her stylist basically ghosted her. Angela asked, "Did you pay her the money?" She was like, "Yeah, I did." So yeah, they end up getting into. She's like, "I'm gonna come meet you around. I'm going to the break room because y'all got the best snacks and coffee." She was like, "All right, cool, that's good." And her photo shoot was later on that day, so they got a lot of stuff to do. By this time, Fatima, she's already in the conference room working on documents. She ended up calling Sage to see how she's doing it. She read it over the document. Sage was like, no, she didn't. She was like, I normally let the lawyers handle the good stuff, handle the boring stuff because that's normally what I do. And Fatima was like, not to be rude or anything, but that's the reason you in this position now. And she was like, all right, true. She was like, do you have time to look over the documents today or tomorrow? She was like, no, I'll leave for LA in the morning. She was like, so maybe we can meet up later on. I can show you the venue and we can kill two birds with one stone, basically. She's like, cool. By this time, Chelsea comes in and asks her, was everything cool? She was like, yeah, everything's good. You know, your cousin, she flaked on me. She's like, I'm so sorry to hear that. And then she was like, I'm gonna let my ex homegirl hook me up. She was like, all right, cool. She was leaving out the office by the time because stood up talking to Chelsea. She said she about to go meet up with Sage. As she walking, well, she's looking out the window, out the door. She sees Leslie with her whole makeup, same dress, and everything. And I never thought about why she always got the same fit as Fatima. Just remember, she has a freaking hidden camera in her house, so she can see any and everything that they put on. And I don't even think Fatima knows about the cameras that's in her place. Like, once she find out, she's gonna be livid through the roof. That's another thing that nobody even knows. So yeah. So she storms out and she goes walking down the hall to see, and she did not know where she went to. And then Chelsea was like, "Are you alright?" She was like, "Yeah." So she went back to work, I guess. By this time, Zach he done called up Angela to see if he could meet her on a lunch break while he's at work to talk over the baby shower meeting. And she was like, "Cool, we could do that at noon." By this time, Preston comes in and was just like, "We got another meeting with the LOI," and he was like, "Oh man," because I guess there's conflict because it messed with the time frame of him and Angela's meeting. So Preston was just like, "Me and Bryce can handle this. You can just meet up with him later." He was like, "Are you sure?" He was like, "Yeah, just make sure you have your inspections or something lined up so that we can be good to go." He was like, "Cool, that's fine." By this time, Angela she gets to the break room and she sees Stephanie. She was like, "Why you lost so much weight?" She basically told her she been taking this like weight loss drug, Fentril, whatever. And she was like, "How do you do it?" She was like, "I just take it, here and there, and I also do keto, and I basically cut out a lot of stuff from my diet and work out." And she was like, "Cool, but if you ever need the hookup to do it, that's fine." But Angela was like, "So does that help with diabetes too?" She was like, "Yeah, but also help me make me lose weight." So Angela was on the fence about that. She was just like, "Nah, I'm good." But Angela was like, "So whenever just let me know if you do need to hook up, and I'll see you later." She's like, "Cool, bye." By this time, Angela she done went and she done looked at herself in the mirror, and she was just like contemplating whether she want to do whether she want to do that or not. But yeah. All right. So by this time, Angela and Zach meet up with at the Olive to discuss the baby shower plans. Zach basically told her like, "I probably been doing too much," and he probably asked for more people to be there more than he needed to. And she was like, "That's why Fatima wanted a small gathering because she feels as if men ain't always around because she already know about the whole situation with Ian. He ended up leaving her high and dry pregnant, and he married somebody else. So I can honestly see why Fatima wants to be independent and not depend on nobody because it's like when she lets her guard down a little bit, somebody come and stomp all over it, and it's just like what the heck. So yeah, so they started going over the plans. Once Angela saw the price of the venue that he had for her, even though it was nice, she was like, "Nah, we could just do it in the lobby downstairs at the law firm. It's gonna be closed that day and it's free and looks just like the venue." They're like, "Cool, that's fine." And they started going over their little pictures or whatever the case may be of how everything should be, and it was like, "Cool, that's fine." By this time, Connie, she's at her cancer treatment and her legs are just shaking and she can't stop. One of her I would say acquaintances at the chemo was basically talking to her, like, "Can you stop shaking your leg?" So basically, she gave her a good distraction. Her name is Miss Betty, and she basically told where's your support system. She was like, I don't really have any. All I have is my kids." And so basically, Miss Betty gave her a scenario. So what if I was your friend and I passed away? And you didn't know. And she gonna be like, "Wow, I would have been mad at you because you didn't tell me." And she's like, "Yeah, that's exactly how your family and friends would feel if you did the same thing to them." And she was just like, By this time, she got a phone call, and I guess somebody was like, Jeremiah's at the hospital. She's like, "Well, I'm already here for something else." And she was called the doctor because she was about to get up. So Miss Betty called for the doctor. The doctor came in. She was like, "Well, can you please let me know how much more minutes I have for this?" She was like 10, and then she's like, "Can you please tell me what room Jeremiah Matthews is in?" So she was telling her that by this time she walks over to Jeremiah's room, and she's like, "Jeremiah," and he was like, "Connie," and they start talking. She was basically saying that he didn't he basically have nothing to live for. And she's like, "I'm gonna have to tell Zach, right?" And he's like, "What for?" Because he don't care. She was like, "He'll probably will care. Regardless of how he may feel, that's his brother, that's family. People say stuff just to say, but deep down, you know that would hurt his heart if his brother lost his life like that. So, yeah. So he was like, I've been on this stuff for a long time, and it's basically like clouding my mind and my judgment in so many ways that it's hard to differentiate. But why do you have this thing on your chest? And she was like, I'm here for another form of birth control because I don't want to have no more kids. He was like, listen, one thing for sure, you know me a long time. But one thing I know is when somebody is lying and you're lying about something big. Next, she just turned around and it was just like, yes, Connie, just be the bigger person and tell them because that's something that's life threatening. Like you can be here 1 minute and then gone the next, and then they would have never known a thing, and everybody would be like, "Well, what happened to Connie?" They would be so pissed off at you for not speaking up and saying anything, regardless of how you may feel that you might be a burden to some, but it's not the case. Like, yeah. So, with that being said, hope you guys enjoyed this recap, and I'll see you on the next one. Bye.